What's going on, everybody? Mr. J. Gilbert here. Thank you for checking out the video. Today's video, I'm going to give my impressions of the Monster Hunter Wilds beta. Let me tell you something, it's going to be a good one. But first, I want to give you a little background insight into where I come from and my perspective, as I am a 20-year veteran of the franchise. Let's go ahead and jump into a little history, shall we? Wait, what? You're not an expert on Monster Hunter because you were introduced to it in Monster Hunter World like everyone else? No. No. I have been playing Monster Hunter since day one. I just haven't been making YouTube videos on it. Now, I've been a big fan of the franchise for 20 years, back in 2004 when Monster Hunter was first released. This little stroll down memory lane starts, like I said, in 2004 on the PS2, but it was later ported to the PSP, which is the PlayStation Portable. That's where I come in. A friend of mine by the gamer tag of Big Daddy Davidus, don't worry about that, introduced me to the game. We were just wee lads, freshmen in college, and I immediately bought a PSP, and we would spend countless hours, multiple pizzas, multiple 2 liters of Mountain Dew, just hunting all kinds of monsters. One of my personal favorites growing up is the Yian Kut-Ku, and I am so glad that it is making a comeback now in Monster Hunter Wilds. But let me tell you, back then, the Rathalos was still king. Fast forward through time here, and I've sunk hundreds and hundreds of hours through multiple titles throughout Monster Hunter franchise, like Monster Hunter 2, Freedom Unite, Monster Hunter Tri, that was on the Wii. Swimming Combat was actually introduced in Monster Hunter Tri, so that was kind of cool. But Monster Hunter 4 on the 3DS, obviously Monster Hunter World and Iceborne on current gen, and I actually skipped Rise, to be fair. Rise was one of those games where it just didn't seem like Monster Hunter to me. It didn't have that Monster Hunter feel. It was too fast-paced. It was more like an action combat rather than you had to slow grind out the monster, and you had to actually make sure your loadout was, you had everything in there. You had barrel bombs, you had traps, you had rations, you had all these things. Speaking of all things that you had to have in your inventory, and we'll get to this later in the video, one thing that I miss, it was very tedious, very annoying back in the day, but one thing I miss, and I really feel like it encapsulates the essence of a monster hunter. Like you are trying to track the monster down. I miss having to craft paintballs. For all you Monster Hunter fans out there, you know what I'm talking about, right? You had to get all the ingredients together to be able to craft a paintball. You had to hit the monster with a paintball just to track it into multiple zones, or else you'd lose track of it. Oh, simpler times. But all that aside, now that we're caught up on a little history into my experience with the franchise, I do want to say that Monster Hunter Wild is right around the corner. The beta just dropped. Monster Hunter Wild is getting released end of February, and I am beyond excited for it. I played the most recent beta, and I have a lot of insights about the game. They're both good and bad, and also I have some little future thoughts of how I think the franchise should go, like the direction that I feel like the franchise should go in. And I will timestamp those below, so if you are interested in my good thoughts, be sure to go to that timestamp. If you just want to hear my bad, negative criticism about the game so far, go to that timestamp. Or if you just want to feel like, hey, what's kind of future content that would be a good idea for the game, be sure to go to that timestamp as well. We're going to start off with my first impressions of the game. And then we'll get into what I thought was good about it, what I thought was bad about it, and then just maybe some future content that I would like the game to have, right, for the longevity of the game. My first impressions were, and I think this is how every beta is of the game or alpha or whatever it may be. I personally felt as if the beta was dumbed down for the player. Now, I'm not calling, the average player dumb. I'm just saying that you only had one armor set and choice of like one level of weapon that you could use, but yet you could hunt every single monster. So obviously the beta was kind of dumbed down for us just to kind of get a feel for, how the game works, how the monsters interacted, the different move sets of the monsters, just kind of get a feel for Wilds. I understand that. So I can't really say what the difficulty will be for the game. And as a player that has done multiple games, I have all the confidence in the world that when you get to Raid Dao is going to be tough, right? The Doshigama is going to be super, one of the earlier level monsters, kind of like Great Jagras was in Monster Hunter World. Maybe the Chatacabra would kind of be more of the Great Jagras, but you're not really having a lot of difficulty scaled in the beta. So when the game comes out, I'm really gonna hope that, like I said, Raid Dao is going to be tough for the first zone. That Doshigama actually puts up a fight, right? Those kinds of monsters to start off the game that will really have you can tell the difference of the difficulty level in between them. So that was my first impression that, okay, can't really get a good feel for the difficulty because it's obviously, dumbed down for the beta. Another one that a lot of people have been kind of questioning, or maybe they're not necessarily used to, is the no quest board system. The way Monster Hunter Wilds works is you're just out in the world, and once you do enough damage to the monster, all of a sudden the quest starts. Hunt said monster, right? Hunt Raid Dao, hunt Doshigama. Like, hunt the monster as soon as you're doing enough damage to them. Instead of the old way in every other Monster Hunter game to where you had to go to a quest board. You had to find the quest, you had to post the quest, people can go join the quest from the quest board. Everything was laid out there for you. I actually liked that system. I actually like the preparing for a fight system, where, okay, I post the quest. Now I'm going to go eat my food at the kitchen. Now I'm going to check my inventory. I'm going to check my botanical garden, make sure that I have all those collected. The argosy, the vendor that travels out, every few missions. I'm going to go check those things while the quest is loading. I'm going to prepare for the fight, and then I'm going to jump right in. So it's going to take some getting used to, but for my end, I still think the jury's still out for me on whether I like the no quest board system. A lot of people hated it, and a lot of people think that now this new way is innovative. And it is, don't get me wrong. But man, Monster Hunter was just that. It's, you post the quest, you have to prepare for it, you look up its weaknesses, you change your armor set, you make sure your inventory's set. I don't know. Like, I was just so used to that old way that I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the no quest board system. What do you think about that? If you've played it, if you played the beta or any other Monster Hunter games, know that the quest board system's not there anymore, right? You're just out in the world. The quest can start automatically once you do a certain amount of damage to whatever monster you're hunting. So, what do you think about that as far as a change for Monster Hunter Wilds? The last impression, the first that I got, is right away, and this will kind of jump into the good part of the game. Is there's a lot more creativity and a lot more designability through your character creation. That is great. Me personally, I'm in the minority here, and I honestly think that I am. And if you want to rip me apart for it in the comments below, you just let me know. I don't really care that much for character creation. Majority of the time, your armor is going to be covering your character, so you're not even going to see the character that you created. Yes, you can turn that off to where you can still see the character. There's a lot of cutscenes now in Monster Hunter Wilds where it'll be your actual character, not like armored up, so you can actually see your created character that you made. But I spent a little bit of time into it, and I'll tell you, it's very expansive. There's a lot of detail to it. And what the character that you created in Wild's beta will carry over into the main game, right? That's the only thing that will carry over is your created character. But just for me, I was never really a character creation kind of guy. I dabbled in it a little bit, but then 10 minutes into it, I'm like, man, I'm over this. Let's just start the game. I made it look decent and I just kind of moved on. So, what's your thoughts on the character creation? I will say that is one of the first good things about it. For those of you out there that are big into character creation, there's a lot of different choices to choose from and a lot of customization, that you can have with your character creation. So, let me know what you think about that. To me, I'm either didn't really matter much for me. All right, now let's talk about the good. What I found good in the beta so far. First, let's talk about the obvious. It's beautiful. It is graphically stunning. The worlds, the monsters, all the monsters that are interacting with one another, the grass, the trees, everything. Graphically beautiful. Addition to that, the seamless world I thought was great. Being able to travel from zone to zone endlessly, that's awesome. Especially when in world you have the different zones, right? You have the Rotten Vale, you have the Coral Highlands, you had the ancient forest, you had all the zones where you had to load in separately. Well, now they promise that with Monster Hunter Wilds, you're going to be able to travel through all of those zones seamlessly. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they incorporate that because the world itself in Wilds that we got from the beta was huge. It was very big. And I'm just going to be excited to see how they do that. So I thought that was great. Really felt like you could run all the way across the map. You could fast travel to a lot of places. I thought that was great. Another thing that I thought was really, really good, and in this system, in Monster Hunter Wilds, they've introduced an SOS system to where they will actually call in NPC characters to come fight with you. What I thought was super interesting about that is the NPC characters that you would call in actually seemed pretty smart. I would lay a trap down like a pitfall trap. They would go hide behind the pitfall trap, waiting for the monster to run into it so then we could start attacking it. Oh, I love it. They know what to do. Oh, God, this is smart. Look at this. I put a trap down. They go to stand behind it. That is awesome. I would lay a barrel bomb down and they would put out their barrel bombs as well. I just thought how the NPCs, like when you call it in the SOS, how they interacted with you, I thought was great. And if that's kind of a starting point, that's awesome. They're going to be able to build off of that hopefully and kind of add in more NPC like skills and mechanics that will just make them even more of, an asset when you're calling them in. Another thing that I thought was really, really great with the beta was when you attack the monsters, how the world seems to interact with them, right? If they're at top of the sand dune and you attack them, they get stuck in the sand. They get slowed down. I remember one time when I was fighting the Doshiguma that I would be attacking its hind legs and I would actually cause it to stutter. Like I would knock the legs out from under him kind of, and he'd like stumble a little bit because I was attacking the legs. I thought that was a small nuance to the game, but ultimately it added so much depth to the game and it made it seem like I'm attacking this monster for real. Now, one of the negative criticisms isn't necessarily a bad, but just because I'm kind of talking about it, the hit impact was in question. If you're swinging a great sword and you go through your animations or the hammer even, and you get to that massive swing that it does, it still has that hit scan pause before like continuing the attack. They need to clean that up. Right? Because when you're attacking with the hammer or with the great sword and you hit them and then your weapon seems to stutter or pause first as you're hitting them and then it cuts through them, they need to clean that up. But other than that, I thought when I was attacking their legs would stumble. When I was attacking them on top of a sand dune, they kind of fall into the sand and slow them down. I thought that was such a great addition to the game, and I'm excited for all the things that they do moving forward with the different zones. All right, now it's time to talk about the bad things from the Monster Hunter Wilds beta, or at least in my opinion, what I thought was bad or problematic. We talked earlier about NPCs and how I actually really liked them. And ultimately, I do. I really like how the fact you can call them in whenever you have 4 different fighters. They drop shock traps, they drop pitfall traps, they drop bombs with you. Like, they help out. But I'm going to put that also under the bad category because I'm going to say that with being able to summon in the three NPCs like that to make you have your full squad that are actually pretty beneficial, it's actually going to make the game way too easy. Right now, again, it could be my own perspective, could be my own just kind of old school approach to this, but I feel like adding in those NPCs are going to make the game actually really easy, more streamlined for the current media hype that's around Monster Hunter. Like I said, I've been playing since 2004. I haven't had this ability to have a full squad of people every game that I played or throughout the years. But now since World and the influx of players, they've really, again, I don't want to make it seem like they've made it easier, but in a sense, it really kind of has, which leads me to my next point, my next bad point, if you will, with the game is I feel like it's starting to have this Ubisoft style approach where it literally tells you where everything is and guides you there automatically. Now, having the secret, having the mount is fun. I get that. But oh my gosh, there's there's no exploration anymore. There's no trying to find out where everything is. It's all spoon-fed to you. You just pull up the map, every resource is on there automatically. The location of every single monster is constantly tracked on there. All you have to do is set a waypoint, call your secret, and it will take you there automatically. There's no exploration in the game anymore. And back in the older, I mentioned earlier in the video, we talked about having to craft paintballs just to be able to track your monster into different zones. You don't know where they could go. You can have an idea. The more you play, you start to understand, okay, this monster usually likes to go to zones 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to go to those zones to see if it's in there. But you don't know for sure if it wasn't paintballed. Now, World and even in Wilds now, it tells you where they are the entire time. I personally don't like that. I don't think that's a good quality for the game. It really takes out the tracker in the game. Like, you're not a tracker anymore. You're not a monster hunter anymore. All you are is a, hey, point and click, go to that spot for me. The secret takes you there automatically. I don't know. I obviously have to get used to it, and I might enjoy it later on, as I just get used to it. And the world's really big at Monster Hunter Wilds, so you're gonna need that kind of automaticity to be able to just point, click, go, and collect things as you're riding on your secret. I get that. I'll have to get used to it. But from my perspective, how I've played for many, many years across many, many different installments, it's too easy now. It's made it too easy for just the average player to jump in. Maybe that's what they wanted. And maybe I'm just that old grandpa on the porch like, hey, get off of my lawn. I don't want to be that way. But then I want to keep the integrity of the Monster Hunter experience. And I feel like that integrity right now is getting watered down. One of the last couple things that is common in all betas, in all pre-launch states, the performance. I'm not going to talk about that. There's been some issues. I had a friend of mine that had this pop up, and this is how his game looked, right? It kind of looked like Dreamcast era, if you will, like Dreamcast graphics. We had a good chuckle at it. But again, it's all performance. I'm not worried about that at all. I did have to put that into the bad column, because obviously any performance type issue is bad, but that's why they're having a beta. And that's why they're having a beta so many months ahead of the actual launch. Like, it doesn't launch till the end of February. So they have more than enough time to fix the performance issues. Last couple things that I had for the bad column of the game, the bad feel that I got from the game, was I don't want this game to start turning into an MMO. Now, the reason why I say that is you have many, many different hunters in the camp that you're walking around with. Does that make it seem like it's a active camp and the world is big and there's multiple hunters moving around, interacting? I understand the logistics behind it, right? I understand the thought process of that. But that is just one step until it's an MMO. And Monster Hunter does not need to be an MMO. Now, is it is it intriguing? Is the MMO idea to Monster Hunter intriguing? Yes, it is. But the MMO market is heavily oversaturated right now, and we don't need more MMOs. It's ridiculous. Monster Hunter, the way it is right now, the standalone genre that it is, there's no other game that was it Wild Thing. There's a game that kind of came out like Monster Hunter. I think it's called Wild Thing or something like that. It tried to do that, but it's not Monster Hunter. You know what I mean? Monster Hunter is Monster Hunter, and having that MMO feel at the camp, I didn't need that. So that wasn't in good taste for me. You guys might have liked it. Let me know in the comments below what you think of all my bad takes. But that wasn't a good feel for me. I don't like having that MMO feel in a Monster Hunter game. Again, maybe I'm old school. I don't know. Maybe I should need to get with the times. The last thing that I kind of thought about as I was writing this review of the beta is where is going to be the distinction between low rank and high rank slash monster rank monsters? If you're looking on the map when you're going around trying to figure out what monster you want to go, you can see all of them. Well, the more you hunt a monster, the more it's going to be thinned out. Right? So then what's going to be the distinction? Now all of a sudden you have a Raid Dow and then a purple Raid Dow. So, oh, okay, I'm going to hunt this Raid Dow because it's normal. Can't hunt the purple one yet because that's high rank. That's going to be, to me, that's going to feel awkward, right? How it was in Monster Hunter World, you had low rank, but then high rank was only high rank monsters, right? You didn't get any more low rank. So then no low rank monsters spawned in again. When you get to that point in the game, is that how it's going to be then? Is the map where once you load out into the map, is all low rank monsters is going to go away? How is that transition going to be? Because what I really liked about World and all the other Monster Hunter games was the quest board to where you're picking, oh, I'm going to go hunt a high rank monster. I'm going to pick that high rank quest. When I post that quest, that's the monsters that's going to be on the map, right? Whereas in Wilds, you don't have that. You're leaving camp seamlessly going out into the world and the monsters are already there. So that's why I don't know how the distinction is going to happen between low and high rank. And maybe that's just something that we'll see as the game releases. So maybe this might not even be a bad take. It may just be something that, hey, once the full game releases, then it'll make sense. I get it now. But let me know what you guys think of all of my good and bad takes on Monster Hunter Wilds beta. Overall, I'm a huge fan of the series. Love the game, love the series, love the franchise. I cannot wait. I'm absolutely going to sink hundreds and hundreds of hours into the game. I just have good and bad takes because I love the franchise so much that I'm going to be critical about it. I'm going to critique it at every point because I want it to be great, because I've had such an investment of my time, energy into this game. Last couple things I want to leave you with is the future of the game. Where do I think the game should go, or what do I think the game should have in the future? I really only have two things that I've kind of thought about right now, and I'm sure I'll think of more before the game comes out or even as the game comes out. But the customization, this might be under the bad thing, but Monster Hunter has always had great customization options. I'm going to tell you right now, I want the Raid Dow armor set. Whatever it is, however it looks, I want it. And I hope that it crackles. I hope that it has little crackling of sparks on the armor as you're just wearing it, running around the world. How sweet would that be? Raid Dow literally shoots a lightning like cannon blast on the battlefield when you're fighting it. I want to have that armor set be like little like lightning, sparks or light or static waves or whatever you want to call it on the armor set as I'm wearing it. Amazing, right? But customization, why not give us something like you can already customize your armor sets, and you can have layered armor, right? So you can have, the transmog capability to kind of wear different skins, and they have different crossover things where you can transmog it and have different armor sets on. But I want, in the future, maybe in the release of the game or later on, give me things like that I can do. Ray Dow is an electrical type monster. Let me add maybe even colored lightning, like purple or green or yellow, right? The fire chicken, I forget forget the monster's name now, but the little the fire chicken one that they've shown in the thing. Want to have like little smoke coming out of the armor, right? Or maybe in the shoulder pads, little fire on there. Just give me more of a visual customization to the just one future, maybe it'll happen, maybe not, but I don't know, what do you think about that, right? The last one that I have, and I'm going to leave this with because this is a very big one in a lot of Monster Hunter games, and I don't really feel like World had it, and that is sieges. Now, they did have a crossover events like the Behemoth. They had, it wasn't a crossover. They had Kaluv Tarath. So they had these big multi-hunter style events that you had to do. And they've already confirmed in this that there's 8-man lobbies for some fights. I'm hoping those are sieges. And sieges are for those of you that don't remember, multi-staged fights. Okay? Kind of think about Zora Magdaros and Monster Hunter World. Like that, right? Where it's a multi-stage fight. But Zora Magdaros was at different parts of the game. What kind of led up to it? Well, the one that I'm really thinking of is Lao Sheng, and I can't remember, was that Freedom Unite? Oh man, what was that one? I'm about to look it up. Which game it was actually in? I'm drawing a blank right now, but Lao Sheng, and it's a big red, like turtle style monster, slowly walking through this area, this fortress area, and along multiple paths, you had to just keep attacking it, slowing it down. It'd break through a barrier. Then you had to run to the other area where it was going. It's just trucking along super slow. You're just attacking it the whole time, trying to weaken it before it gets to the fortress, right at the very end of the path that it's on, and you're sitting there trying to repel the monster, right? Those were sieges. Now, with it having an MMO style feel with all these people in the base camps like a central hub, you could very easily set up real-time events, live events in game. Hey, there's a siege of Lao Sheng starting in 20 minutes. Sign up for it. So you can still go out, do your mission, do whoever you want, collect, all the materials you want. You can go farm. But then once the siege opens, so it gives people time to set up multiple lobbies and like multiple groups of 8 or 12 or whatever it may be, then that could be a way to keep players in the game currently, is having those live siege events. Let me know what you think. I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm very excited for the game, and even these two future kind of ideas that I have. Like, hey, let's get on that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below of the review. Are you excited for the game? Are you going to play the game? Did you play the beta? I want to know all the things and the stuffs. If you did not agree with me at any point in this review, please let me know that too. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I am very open-minded to all things Monster Hunter. I want to talk about it. I want to know more. So tell me all that. Tell me all the things and the stuffs. I appreciate you guys. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one here on the Mr. J. Gilbert channel.